If you are financially blessed, then please send super thanks on this video. I am a college fresher and could really use the funds. I will give you a shout out on the next video. Now let's start the video.
The battlefield lay under a bruised sky, the remnants of a violent clash scattered like forgotten memories. Shredded branches, spent bullets glistening in the mud, and a heavy scent of smoke and blood hanging thick in the air. The sun, a fading ember behind layers of gray clouds, cast long shadows that danced like ghosts among the ruins. Number 2 stood firm amidst this chaos, every muscle coiled and ready. His eyes, cold and unblinking, locked onto the enemy leader who, despite his bleeding arm and staggered breath, bore the unmistakable aura of a predator unbowed. Calmly, deliberately, Number 2 lifted his gun, aligning the barrel directly on the leader's chest. His voice, low and scornful, shattered the heavy silence. A funny question, wasn't it? You who attacked. Us first. The mocking tone was a razor, slicing through the tension with surgical precision. Then, without a flicker of hesitation, Number 2 squeezed the trigger. The gunshot exploded, a thunderclap that seemed to shake the very air around them. The bullet tore through space, grazing the enemy leader's skin with a cruel, searing line that gleamed darkly in the fading light. The enemy leader's eyes snapped open wide with shock for a fraction of a second before they ignited with pure, unfiltered rage. Blood seeped slowly down his arm, staining his torn sleeve a vivid hue of red. Desperation spurred his legs into motion as he spurred himself into a wild run, feet pounding against the cracked, uneven earth like war drums. Number 2 gave chase, unleashing a rapid volley of gunfire that whistled lethal warnings close behind the leader. But the desperate enemy was far from broken. Drawing a pistol with deft speed, he spun mid-stride, hammering back bullets in fierce retaliation. The sudden barrage forced Number 2 into cover behind a fractured trunk, shards of bark scraping against his skin as he rolled aside. Then the unexpected, a heartbeat that turned everything on its head. Instead of retreating further into the shadows, the enemy leader twisted his sprinting form. His legs surged forward with terrifying intent, charging back toward Number 2 as if death itself chased them both. Malice curled on the leader's lips, a chilling smile that revealed teeth sharpened by savagery. His eyes burned with an unholy fire, promising destruction as he closed the gap. Number 2 tensed, adrenaline sharpening his senses. As the enemy leader lunged, his gloved hand reached for Number 2's throat, and just as swiftly, Number 2 grabbed the wrist, yanking it aside. Steel flashed in his hand as he drew his own pistol, the cold metal a lifeline in the chaos. A brutal melee erupted, gunfire giving way to fists that collided with bone and flesh. The two circled each other in a violent dance, muscles coiling and releasing with equal ferocity. Their breath came hard and fast, eyes locked in a silent war of wills where only one could prevail. Suddenly, weapons clattered across the dirt, their guns disarmed and dead weight on the ground. Number 2 seized the chance, unleashing a crushing headbutt that cracked against the enemy's nose with hollow finality. Warm, coppery blood spilled down the leader's face, mingling with the grime of battle. The enemy leader staggered, pain briefly clouding his eyes, then transformed into ruthless rage. Raising his fist, he snarled, "You're dead now." He struck with savage force, a blow so fierce it sent Number 2 hurtling backward, sliding over dirt and stones. The enemy leader pressed forward, launching a barrage of punches that rained like a violent storm. "You think you can beat me in close combat?" Number 2's silence was his strategy, eyes calm and calculating amid the fury. Then, with impeccable timing, he unleashed a sharp uppercut that landed squarely. The enemy leader reeled, but before he could recover, another powerful punch thundered toward Number 2, who blocked it but was forced to slide back again. A mad laughter burst from the enemy leader's lips, wild and unhinged, crimson smeared across his face. "You think your fist can bring me down?" Number two's hand slipped into his pocket, emerging with a gleaming pocket knife. Sliding fluidly into a combat stance, his voice cut through the roaring chaos, emotionless and steel-hard. I never intended to defeat you with just my fist. The flash of steel changed the entire fight's rhythm. The enemy leader's complexion drained, his eyes wide as the knife left a fresh, stinging slash along his right arm. Thoughts tumbled in the enemy's mind, frantic and shocked. When did he? Before the enemy could finish, number two shifted with lethal precision, charging like a coiled spring. The enemy leader barely raised his own blade, blocking the strike with grit and grim determination. Through clenched teeth, the leader spat. You think the situation will change just because you're using something that small. But number two was faster. Like a shadow, he slipped behind the enemy's guard, fingers seizing his shoulder with iron grip. Without mercy, his blade danced across the leader's back, each slash pouring crimson into the battle-soaked earth. The enemy leader roared in pain and fury, a guttural sound that shook the air. Frantic and off guard, he swung wildly, forcing number two to tactically retreat, baiting the enemy into overextension. Breath gasping, chest heaving, and wounded, the enemy leader's right arm dangled uselessly. His left clutched the knife weakly, aim faltering but spirit intact. Number two remained composed, his gaze cold and calculating as he locked eyes with the faltering foe. Step by step, he advanced, ready to cast the final blow. Suddenly, a hail of gunfire shattered the charged silence. Bullets screamed through the trees and dirt, forcing number two to dive behind a sturdy oak, its rough bark biting into his skin as he sought protection. From his safety, number two glimpsed the enemy leader's reinforcements bursting into the fray, voices urgent and commanding, calling for retreat. The leader scrambled, pain etched starkly across his features, and with an urgent scramble, disappeared into the thickening shadows with his men. Number two stayed rooted behind cover, eyes narrowed in silent observation, unmoved by the chaos. Static crackled through his intercom, a tense voice cutting through. Number four here. I've regrouped with the others, but we lost the targets. The screen cut sharply to a chilly, dim command center. A soldier's voice was steady yet grim as he reported, "This operation is declared a failure." The superior officer's expression darkened, disbelief and fury simmering just beneath the surface. Failure. The soldier pressed on with clip precision. Correct. Not only that, our three units suffered heavy losses. Arnold's unit was completely massacred. He alone managed to survive. Skulls and Volt's units also lost about 80% of their forces. Anguish turned to rage as the superior barked. What did you say? Losses that huge. Did they end up facing the military instead of the targets? No, the soldier replied quietly but firmly. Based on the reports, they only faced the targets and the enemies. Numbers were estimated to be only about 6 people. The superior slammed a fist on the table, the sound reverberating through the room as his voice rose with disbelief and frustration. What nonsense is that? Are you saying we suffered losses that huge just because of 6 people? The soldier's head bowed, voice low and resigned. I can't believe it either, but it seems that's the reality. Cut to Aijin's home, the air thick with the quiet discipline of a man testing his limits. Sweat trickled down his temples as he powered through his workout, focused and relentless. Each punch, each movement echoed a mind honed for destruction, yet built on unyielding resolve. Suddenly, the sharp ring of his phone shattered the silence. He paused, breath caught mid-exhale, and answered sharply. It's me, number 1. What is it? Number 6's voice was tense, laced with urgency and a trace of despair. I just got a call from number 18. The enemy has raided the hideout. Aijin's face hardened, eyes narrowing as he demanded. Any casualties? Number SIX's voice lowered with heartbreak. They managed to drive off. All the enemies, but number 8 was seriously injured in that raid. His wounds are severe, and since it's hard for us to get proper medical care, his condition is critical. This might be his end, so he wants to say goodbye.
And that was it for this chapter. And once again, if you are financially capable, then please send super thanks on this video.